Alrighty, so it's day one of our PvP Deep Desert stay. They just introduced a split for the Deep Desert between PvE and PvP. So we are hanging out in the PvP. As far as where we're at, we've got a safe haven that we put up here at F1, which ended up being next to a large spice field and this ship here that's just full of bodies. So really great source of water there. We did come into a blind, so I figured just hang out near the side. Hopefully try not to draw too much attention to ourselves. Haven't seen too many people out here, but there has been a little bit of activity tonight. So it looks like people are starting to venture out a bit. We also have a haven over, where is it? F8. So just north of this spice field here. Looks like we still haven't scouted this area yet. So maybe I'll head out there either tonight or tomorrow, and a little bit of this middle area of the deep still unexplored. How is our safe haven shaping up? We haven't spent much time at the other one. We just sort of popped it up and mostly operating out of here. So far, I've got medium ore refinery, and our upstairs has been converted into sort of a processing area. We've got a regular old small spice refinery going, and a bunch of water here so we can process the abundance of resources that we're getting. Next up is building this guy here, the medium spicer, and then eventually a large spicer. And just trying to see sort of how far we can progress in PvP only area. And since I've been spending so much time here, one thing I just realized is the middle block of this safe haven basement didn't need to be there, so that opens this bottom area up quite a bit. Used to be like that. And it doesn't need to be there, so it's a much nicer look right there. Here I wanted to showcase just how good compacting is out here, especially with some gathering perks. You'll see I do a quick dip just to fill up before the sandworm breaches, and made it out of there with about 5,000 sand ore, half a run in a large spicer. Okay, so it's day 2 of our PvP stay in the deep desert, and tackled a couple of big problems we were facing, which was just some basic resources to gather. So the big things were cobalt and steel, which means we needed to find an erythrite cave and a carbon island and an iron island. So after scouring the deep, we discovered there was a carbon island here and an iron island on the other side over in C8. So got stocked up on those with an assault load. And then we also have sort of in the middle here a G5 and a erythrite cave. So grabbed an assault load out of there. And in the meanwhile, discovered a titanium island here. So we put up a haven. Gonna start gathering some water for an operation here. And then G2 is a stravidium island, which actually is close enough to drive to. We don't have a carrier built yet for our deep desert living off the land stay. So we just sort of hoof it from here to here. And then over here, this island, and then boom. A little bit of a trek there, but you can make it. That way you can get one load pretty good. After we get enough titanium and plastinium, I think what we'll do is put up a large spicer here for when this field is active. So we'll want to get a lot of water going in the meantime. But yeah, got our medium spicer. Go. Hi. What? Yeah. Alright, so it's day 3 of our PvP stay in the deep desert, and we're really starting to feel the choke point of water, especially when it comes to processing plastanium and spice. So that's one thing we're starting to do, is get water set up at all our havens. Wanted to try and get some water going at our F8 spice haven, but while our titanium haven is still intact, we did lose F8. There was a group of 4 coming after it, so I feel like it was planned. Probably not just a coincidental, oh hey, a sandstorm hit while we're doing a crawling operation, let's go take it out. But you never know. Either way, probably more resources spent by them with the time and durability hits to their weapons than it was to the bit of steel they probably got from what I left behind there. But I think next time we'll do things a little different. As far as base goes, I think what we'll do is put up a palace, which will be good because we can leave one side open for any guests that want to come and stay, as well as having a shielded penta for any of our friends that happen to leave their vehicle behind for whatever reason. And should be easy to shore up the foundation of it based on how it's sort of structured. So I think that'll be a good one to put up. But in the meanwhile, with water being our nemesis, where we go for a water run, shall we? Alright, so it's day 4 of our PvP Deep Desert stay, and as you can see here, things look a little bit different. We did get a desert palace going up at F8, um, otherwise known as our Phoenix Haven. And as you can see, all the placeables have the House Vernius swatch with the purple and orange. I think that's pretty fitting for a haven right off of a spice field. But yeah, that south hangar's public. This one's closed off for me and our guests for a little bit of safety. Got that little top penta there for your crawlers, and right off a spice field. So beautiful view when that is active. Got the foundation shirt up pretty good with some honeycombing. Make sure it's hard to take out for any ne'er-do-wells. But yeah, I think the big goal now is going to be getting some water going here so that we could potentially get a large spicer up and do some harvesting and processing at the same time with a group run. Yeah, we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. And yeah, you can see we've got the war room and the dining room public, so that people can come in here and enjoy these spaces if they want. And the other two are closed off for me and our guests. But yeah, I think this will be a nice installation. And I did make even the refinery and ore refinery public in case anybody wants to use them. And we'll try and get some water going here. Alright, so it's day 5 of our PvP Deep Desert stay, and we actually stepped out of the deep for a little bit today to run some overland testing stations with the crew. Outside of that, just sort of been hanging out on defense here, but we did find a grade 5 ambition while we were running the labs, so that's something I've been hunting for a while here. And definitely want to do some testing out with that in a little bit. But as I hung out here
Sector weather alert.
and stayed on defense, I kept thinking to myself, man, this would make a pretty great spot for like a King of the Hill or a battle arena. You know, if there were ever going to be more PvP activity, I'd love to see, you know, bases like this sort of get turned into a little combat staging area. But yeah, why don't we see how that ambition's hitting, shall we? So this ambition is going to be our first perfect weapon that we've ever made. Pretty exciting. As you can see, it's hitting for a whopping 1,117 damage, and we rolled a perfect 70% on all 3 damage augments. So yeah, cool to have our first perfect weapon, and this thing is going to be hitting pretty hard. Alright, let's get spicy so we can see a little better. And next up is the Ancient Way. You'll see here, it doesn't really seem to do a whole lot of damage. Next up, I wanted to see how quickly the plasma cannon drops somebody's shield, and just what the las gun is doing. As you can see here, that shield drops pretty quick, and my las gun makes short work of Karma there. He's got my old one, and I do have some energy protection, so you'll see it's Doing a little bit less damage, but goodness, still drops me quick. And then testing to see if the pie rocket is any good in PvP actually surprised me pretty good. 3 shots is enough to drop someone to their knees through a shield, so pretty impressive there. I think that's one to include in your arsenal. So after testing some damage numbers, Karma, a little inexperienced with the rapier, wanted to do some practice with that, so here's a little bit of our practice with some melee combat to see if Karma can get the hang of parrying with the rapier, which is a little different than the other weapons. You need to predict your opponent's swing a little earlier. I want to say something like half a second for the like swords and blades. For the rapier, it's going to be like 0.8 seconds, something like that. So you got to predict a little bit earlier. So now that we've got some practice under our belt, why not have some proper duels? So I'll let you enjoy some of the footage of our duels. And after we had finished, we thought, man, this would be a lot of fun to do again. So I think Fridays at midnight, we're going to do a little bit of a fight club thing where we get together and just sort of have some duels going on, some friendly duels. So here's some duel action, and hope you enjoy. It's day 7, and time to get packed up and ship out. Basically, what we're trying to do is just gather a little bit of resources to use up what's left of our water supply here. Not much here, but had a bunch over at the A row bases, so got some titanium processing there. I think our strategy worked out pretty good as far as having a base that's sort of off the grid a little bit, but next to a good source of water, so that we could get a foothold there and establish some havens at good key points of interest here, like a titanium island and a spice field, so that when we found ourselves wanting to do a little operation, we could get a good haul out of there. Didn't get too much processed out of each of these bases, but it was enough to fuel everything we were doing pretty handily. So yeah, I really enjoyed this week of living off the land, so to speak. Did end up making some pretty good hauls out of here, and yeah, I think Riggy flying around collecting the spice helps out, knowing that he's got some decent places to take shelter from enemies and storms, whatever hazards he encounters. But yeah, just gonna pop over to the havens, grab anything there that we might have left behind, and get on out of here. Good night, Titanium Haven. Hello, Spice. Spice on our way out. Into G-Man's base, use up the rest of his water. should have enough stravidium processed here by now. Got to get that going. Well, got everything packed up out of here that we're looking to take with us. Had a good time in this one, what with it being destroyed and rebuilt, and beautiful view of the spice field here. Also had some duels here, which I think will be a great venue for future fight clubs. We're going to maybe try and do a fight club every Friday night at midnight. So yeah, I think this big open design works out pretty well and should be a lot of fun. So next Friday at midnight, I think we're going to do Eastern. If you're looking for a good time, come join us. Should be a lot of fun and the first of hopefully many. So I hope there's a good turnout. I think there will be. Say goodnight to this desert palace of ours too. Good night, base. We'll miss you the most. Desert Palace. But, yeah, appreciate you all checking this one out. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.